Can you hear me?
Yes, Sarah, we heard you. Can't hear you now.
Kindly unmute yourself.
Sarah, you're sending video, but you're not sending audio. There we go. No.
Okay,
now it should
better
work.
now?
Yeah.
Yes, it's better now. Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. So I wanted to begin by saying, I know we just have 15 minutes, but we are thrilled to have these 15 minutes here at the Internet or African Internet Society's Summit. We are thrilled to be part of this discussion as we are a new organization, and we feel it's extremely important for us to share with you what it is that we are doing at the Internet Society and the Internet Society Foundation, and the way in which we feel we can really make a difference on the continent of Africa. It is in fact a global organization, but we do have quite a bit of work already going on in Africa, and we plan to do a lot more. So what I'm going to do, if we can go to the next slide, please, is quickly take you through the agenda. Next slide. There, thank you. Just quickly on our mission and our history, as well as our portfolio, as well as some of the programs we have coming up. So here you can see our mission. I will not read the slide to you, just I want you to know that we are in fact a funding organization. We are a philanthropic organization that is dedicated to making a difference throughout the world to help further the mission of the Internet Society. We want the Internet for everyone. So we work very hard on connections, and we also work very hard on educating the way in which we can be sure that people are benefiting from the Internet. This is more important than ever, as someone stated just a few minutes ago, during the COVID pandemic. So we are thrilled to be able to have the opportunity to make a difference at this very challenging time. And specifically in Africa, we are doing, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of work, and that is terrific. So for those of you here who are an audience at the Africa Internet Summit, I do want you to know that we are dedicated to making a difference on your continent. Next slide, please. We have a number of programs which, when we see the next slide, we can talk about. We started as in February of 2019. We started as part of the Internet Society's dream of expanding their mission through philanthropy. So as you can see, they started in 1992, as everyone knows, I'm sure. And they did at one point have some grant programs that they were running that were specifically targeted to the Internet Society chapters. And I'd like to point out that we have 37 active chapters on the continent of Africa. And they are all doing wonderful work on behalf of the continent. And it's a continent, by the way, that is very near and dear to my heart. I lived in South Sudan. I've worked in Sierra Leone. I've been to 12 or maybe 14 different sub-Saharan African countries. And I love the fact that our foundation is able to make such a wonderful difference there. So we started in February 2019, and basically what we've been doing since then is forming the team and making sure our operations are in place and launching our programs. So on the next slide, I'm going to show you what our programs look like. We have 6 programs, so the slide will show you that in a second. And as you can see, disaster is one we will be shaping at some point, as will be innovation. We also have the chapter funding, as I mentioned, the 37 active chapters working on a program we call Beyond the Net, which I assume most of you are familiar. As I mentioned in the history slide, this is something that's been around for a while. So that is something we will continue. Both large and small grants are available to these chapters, including a $3,500 grant, or there's also a $30,000 grant. So we're making a real difference with things with community networks, with trainings. Of course, with COVID, we're having to make some adjustments with some of the things that we're doing. We also fund all of the IGF. We fund the global, we fund the regional, we also fund the national IGF, and we also provide money to help the schools of internet governance, which of course, as you know, are very important. And we know again that your region has been active in the Internet Society's IGF program, which is now part of the foundation. So the funding for the foundation, for the IGF program, comes in fact from the foundation. We also have a program we call Emergency Response COVID-19. I just want to call your attention to that for a moment. The reason that's really important is that was a program that was not originally part of our portfolio. We added this program because of the pandemic. We felt it was so important for us to respond. So we developed a brand new program that did not exist. And in fact, one of the grantees with whom we're working right now is AMREF Africa. They are working in 5 different African countries, and they are working to train health workers. So we are proud to say that we are part of funding that program that will last for 12 months. These programs are short-term. Why? Well, because the pandemic needs to have rapid response. So this is something that we don't know if we'll continue to do or not in 2021, but we certainly will respond if there is in fact a need, as we know it's critical. So those are the programs that the Internet Society Foundation runs, and for which everyone here is eligible to apply. I encourage you to go to our website, which I'll show you at the end of the presentation, so that you're able to get more information about each of these wonderful programs. And again, I want to emphasize, they really are designed to make a difference and to help people throughout the world. And this could not be more important to me and everyone on my team. Next slide, please. We want to talk specifically about 2 of the programs that are here on that Venn diagram, as we call it, that shows all 6 of our programs. One in particular is called SKILLS. SKILLS stands for Strengthening Communities, Improving Lives and Livelihoods. This is a program that we launched a couple of months ago, and we decided to pilot test this program. One of the countries in which we are pilot testing it is Senegal. So I wanted to call that to your attention. It's about helping in economic growth, in improving health outcomes, and increasing educational opportunities throughout these 3 countries. We are now reviewing applications, many of which we have from Senegal. We will be making awards, probably 3 per country, up to $150,000 for each of those programs. And again, in education, in health, and in economic growth. And these programs are to help people who have access already to the internet, who really need to just understand better how they can benefit from it. Because as we know, connection is hugely important, but just connection's not enough. You need to know what it is that you can do with the internet that can change your life, and that can improve your economic situation, and that can improve education. And once again, I must emphasize how important this is in order to, I can't see or hear any speakers. Are people not able to hear me? Are people not hearing me?
We can hear you.
You can. Okay, I just saw something in the chat that indicated perhaps not. I apologize for the delay. So I wanted to be sure that you were aware of this, that it is not just about connectivity, but it's about educating. It's about digital literacy. And this is another thing to which the foundation is extremely committed. We also have another program about research. And I'd like to go ahead and have Susan, if you would please play the video for us, and make sure that everybody can see an interesting way of looking at the next program that we just launched on the 2nd of September. So Susan, if you could play that video for us, please, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. And if it's not going to work, no problem. Just let me know. I can go on to the next slide. It's embedded in slide 7, if that helps. Okay, so we're not going to be able to see the video at this time. Perhaps we can show it later. I do want to point out that we have, I'm sorry, say again, Susan?
I'll show it at the end of the presentation.
Okay, perfect. Doesn't matter when. It's a great video and it helps to inspire people, I hope, to consider applying for funding for this new program. And so I can't see or hear you is what Alan is telling me, but everybody else is saying that they can. I'm hoping that, gosh, I'm hoping that you're seeing me. It looks like
for those who are having issues, at the bottom right of your screen, you'll see something like a replay button. It is a sound reset button. So in case sound is lost, you can always reset it there. Sorry for interrupting, Sarah. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you very much, Suzanne. So the research program I'd like to call your attention to, as I mentioned, because this just launched and there are some really interesting opportunities for this. Again, more information on our website, more information in the video, which we will play at the end of the presentation. My program officer for research is on the phone with us. Her name is Shana Robinson. She is very dedicated. In fact, she has lived in Uganda. She is very dedicated to your continent and seeing the changes that we can make through the Internet Society Foundation in Africa. I won't read the slide, but you can see what our objectives are. This year, we are focused on the greening of the Internet, as well as the Internet economy. So those are the types of research projects that we will be looking for. In 2021, we will expand the program to include a trustworthy Internet and the digital divide. But as you know, research is critical. And research in the Global South, research in the areas, there are certain parts of the world where we feel like we can really dig deep and get some more research projects that are available that we can fund, again, to make a difference. So that's our program. Let's go ahead and look at the video, and then I'd like to stop there and take any questions from myself, as well as Shana Robinson, who I think probably is able to do audio and video now as well. So thank you very much. So Susan, let's try the video, and if it doesn't work, we'll just go right to Q&A. Oh, this is the way that you can stay connected to the Internet Society. We have a website. We're all over social media. We are everywhere. So you can certainly find out. We have a newsletter that you can sign up for. So there are a lot of different ways that you can stay connected to when we launch new programs, how the programs are going, how you can get more information about applying. So I think, I don't know if we can do the video, and like I said, if we can't, then we can just go right on to Q&A. Let's see, maybe it's not going to work. No. Give it a try. Okay. If it can't work, that's okay. We can do this. I'm happy to take questions. As I mentioned, we are new. We are here to make a difference. We are here to do whatever we can to be sure that more people get connected and that can understand the benefits. Again, I have to emphasize, more important than ever during the situation in which we are living right now. So I'd be happy to take questions from anyone at the African Internet Summit about the Internet Society Foundation. And again, perhaps Shana can join us as well if you have questions specifically about the research program. Are there any questions? Or any luck with the video?
Having a small technical hitch, and
Okay.
I will share the video as soon as it's available. I'm getting notification that people cannot hear. I will repeat. If on your screen you will see more like a replay button, bottom right. It's like a refresh icon. If you click on that, it will refresh the sound and you will be able to follow the meeting, because it's just two people who are saying they can't hear us, and the rest of us are okay. So if you could, please. Thank you. For the questions, Kathy Jayak says, Sarah, thank you for your presentation. Could you speak more about your 2021 project of setting up trustworthy internet? I thought the NOGs are already doing it. That's the only question I have so far.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question, please?
So, Kathy Jayak says, Sarah, thank you for your presentation. Could you speak more about your 2021's project of setting up a trustworthy internet? I thought the NOGs were already doing this.
Oh, I see that there's a role for all of us to play in this area, and I think that it would probably make a lot of sense for us to engage in dialogue about what the NOGs are doing and what we are hoping to do. Certainly the idea is that any project that we are looking at to approve in not just 2021, but also the ones with which we are working now, are all about ensuring that there is an element of building a trustworthy internet. So I think it may be a good idea, actually, being part of this has introduced me to some new resources for the foundation to be sure that we pursue some conversations to make sure that we're working together and helping each other and complementing each other's work. So we are still shaping the way in which we will be doing it in future years, but I would love to have an opportunity to hear more about the NOG's work. I mean, I heard obviously this morning the presentations, but I know that there probably is a lot more that we can talk about.
Okay.
Any other questions in the chat?
Elvis says, thanks for the presentation, Sarah. Although your organization is still new, as you have clearly stated, in regards to the funding, what is the process of selection of the programs to fund, and how many programs has the organization worked on so far?
Thank you. That's so if we go back to the slide where we talk about the different programs, the way in which it was determined, there was a committee of people before I came on board who that consisted of some Internet Society people, some boards, some other people just from the industry, as well as a consultant that was brought in to help decide how best to shape a philanthropic organization, an organization that could help further the mission of the Internet Society. And it was they who decided what they saw as some of the gaps where there could be more funding and more ways of helping to further the mission. So the program areas that were originally determined, of course, was the continuation of the Internet Society chapter program, which, as I mentioned, is known as Beyond the Net, working in 34 or 37 countries in Africa. But also the importance, as I mentioned, of research and how there really is quite a bit of a gap, particularly in certain regions, and how we can find a way to fund research in some of those regions. The other program that we launched this year, as I mentioned, was to respond to the pandemic. And while this was not part of the original proposal for the types of programs that the Internet Society would fund, because of the state of the world, we felt we had no choice. We had to help in that situation. We also have what we call community capacity, which we've named skills, and that is building the digital literacy skills among communities throughout the world. And then we have two other programs that were recommended to us, one they call disaster, and one was called innovation. And at this point, we are shaping those, and we'll be adding those to our portfolio in 2021. So that summarizes the different programs that we have right now and the programs that we plan to be running and to be launching. And again, some of this came, as I mentioned, from the original group, and some of it's being adjusted a bit because, as everybody knows, when you have a startup, you have a test to learn and adapt model where you test things, you learn from it, and sometimes you have to make some adaptations.
Thanks very much, Sarah. I'm afraid I had technical problems for most of that. I couldn't see or hear anything, but I'm back now after reloading my browser multiple times. we are running a bit late, so I think we can't take any more questions. So let's move on to the next presentation. We have Matt Ford, who's the Technology Program Manager at the Internet Society.